Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the brand new Under Armour Blur Carbon 4. Now, as many of you may have already noticed, these are not in a box. So while this is technically an unboxing video, there won't actually be a box. You're just going to have to use your imagination a little bit. Under Armour was nice enough to send out a couple pairs for review, but they're sample pairs, so they don't come with the retail packaging. So if you can imagine these inside of an Under Armour box, and assuming that they come with the same extras as the Blur Carbon 3, which is of course the previous model, you would also get a string bag, an extra set of insoles, and potentially an extra set of laces. Again, these are not things that I know for sure. I'm just guessing based on what you got with the previous generation. Now, as far as the Blur Carbon 4 itself goes, this is a release from Under Armour that more or less flew under the radar. Not to say that it's their fault. Under Armour just isn't that high profile of a brand in the soccer/football world. Just because they haven't been around all that long and still aren't necessarily all that proven as far as their performance footwear goes. And it's not so much because the technology and the actual performance elements aren't there. It's just that people don't give the smaller brands a chance. And I have to say that the Blur Carbon 3, for those of you guys that followed my channel throughout 2013, you know that this is a shoe that I raved about all year long. This is the Blur Carbon 3 right here, the previous model to the brand new Blur Carbon 4. This shoe actually won my favorite shoe of 2013. In my opinion, the best performing shoe of 2013 for various reasons. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave an annotation on screen, as well as some annotations on screen to any other review style videos I have of the Blur Carbon 3, because they are still available and you can actually pick them up for some pretty good prices. And everybody that I have recommended these to and has actually gone through and purchased a pair has been extremely happy with their purchase. The quality of this shoe, like I said, is amazing. So I have very high expectations for the Blur Carbon 4, which, as you can tell, has made some pretty significant changes coming from the predecessor. They really, I think they went in a different direction as far as the styling of the shoe, and I think that's part of the reason why the Blur Carbon 3 perhaps wasn't all that popular, is a lot of people thought it was a little too out there, a little too spacey looking. But the Blur Carbon 4, like I said, has more of a streamlined, low profile, under the radar type of styling about it that I'm personally not crazy about. I'm not really a huge fan of this graphic, but I guess leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the overall visuals of the shoe. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why or why not? Also, I think a lot of people don't realize that these are actually available for purchase as of right now in two colorways at launch. This is the black, orange, and blue colorway, but there's also a highlighter yellow and purple colorway available. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can actually purchase these things in those two colors. So you can go ahead and check it out, check out the pricing, check out the availability if you are at all interested in purchasing a pair of these for yourself. So this is the black, orange, and blue color. You have a black base for the upper, your orange accents throughout, one Under Armour logo right there, one Under Armour logo right here on the inside, and then this kind of interesting circle pattern at the back of the heel. It's a blue color, but it's actually an iridescent type of finish. So you can see that in certain lighting, it will show up a little bit as purple. It's kind of a very faint effect, but something that is a little bit unique to this particular shoe that I've never personally seen before. So kind of a cool little idea from Under Armour. Like I said, I'm not crazy about this particular blend or combination of colors, but nonetheless, I don't think that the styling of the shoe is too bad anyways. So as far as performance features go, again, they've made a lot of dramatic changes coming from the Blur Carbon 3. What hasn't changed is, of course, the sole plate and stud pattern. This remains identical to the previous model. So what you have here is a P-back space for the sole plate with your carbon fiber running through the heel and midfoot. This carbon fiber is extremely rigid and provides a nice responsive solid feel underfoot, while the thin P-backs in the forefoot area allows for plenty of flexibility no matter which way that you twist and turn. This is honestly one of my personal favorite sole plate and stud pattern combinations currently out there. You have the bladed studs in the hard lateral cut areas, or where you would be pushing off to make hard lateral cuts at the bottom of your feet. Your four bladed studs at the heel that all have a very thin profile about them, so they penetrate the ground very easily, which then in turn leads to extremely good traction. And then of course you have your very narrow profile conical studs here at the front, which again penetrate the ground really easily. You get extremely good traction when pushing off, but still plenty of maneuverability when planted, which is always very, very important. Now moving on to the upper, this is where a lot of things have changed. You can see right off the bat they have ditched the the carbon fiber lateral wing, which to me was one of the coolest features of this particular shoe. But like I said, they wanted to go for something that I think was a little bit more low profile as far as styling goes and a little bit less unusual, if you will. So instead they went for a one-piece synthetic upper, and the synthetic is brand new. It's what they call Wallaroo synthetic, which I believe actually is a certain type of animal. I did some research. I think it's a combination between a kangaroo and a wallaby. I could be wrong, but it is in fact a synthetic material. It isn't natural leather, and that's another change coming from the Blur Carbon 3 to the Blur Carbon 4. We only have a synthetic upper variation so far. I'm not sure if that is going to change down the line, because I don't believe we had a leather version right off the bat with the Blur Carbon 3 either. But like I said, as of right now, at the launch of the Blur Carbon 4, you can only get it in a synthetic upper variation. So as far as this Wallaroo synthetic goes, you can see that it does have a kind of leather grain finish to it, which feels very high quality. And the synthetic itself, I'm very impressed with. It has the softness and flexibility of something like a Hybrid Touch on the current synthetic Adizero, with a feel that I would argue is more like Tasian synthetic on Nike's Mercurial Vapor 9, but perhaps ever so slightly thicker and has a slightly cushioned feel about it, which, like I said, I'm very curious to try it out. It feels very high quality in hand, and I'm just really happy with the overall feel of the material so far. You have the exact same material in the tongue as well, so you should have a very uniform feel across the entire foot. The shoe does have a slightly off-centered lacing system as well, but again, a much more traditional layout than what you're going to find on the Blur Carbon 3. There's also some internal kind of plastic TPU support areas on the inside of the shoe. You can see there's a very slight kind of indentation that you can see in the upper itself, and that is actually embedded into the upper. It's an extra layer, again, just to reinforce those areas to ensure maximum lateral stability while still maintaining a very soft texture to the upper, which is great for touch, of course. As far as other kind of aspects of the upper that are fairly unique, you are going to find a little thin kind of TPU band film kind of supporting around the forefoot and toe box area, just as a durability feature, just to enhance that bond between the sole plate and the upper. So kind of a nice little detail right there, right off the bat from Under Armour. And then as far as the heel area goes, it is a low-cut shoe, just like what we found from the Blur Carbon 3. Again, more of a normal shape as opposed to this angled shape we found on the Blur Carbon 3. But again, low-cut, internal plastic heel counter, and then a fairly straightforward padded synthetic liner. So pretty nice padding there, should be very comfortable from right out of the box with minimal break-in time required. As far as the stock insole goes, you do get your 4D foam insole, which is essentially a thin layer of green foam on top. There's no liner on it, it's just straight up foam, which is something that I really like from this particular insole. And then you're going to have a Micro G base for the insole, which is a separate type of foam that feels extremely soft and cushioned. This shoe offers step-in comfort that I would compare more to a running shoe than a pair of soccer shoes, making this extremely comfortable from right out of the box, and honestly one of the most comfortable shoes currently on the market simply because of this insole. It's a really good insole, honestly the best one I've ever used in a pair of soccer shoes, especially for somebody that likes to have a lot of underfoot cushioning. This does it better than anything else currently out there on the market. So that's pretty much it as far as all the tech specs, and move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. Considering the much simpler design of the Blur Carbon 4 in comparison to its predecessor, the Blur Carbon 3, I was honestly expecting these to weigh a little bit less, if not exactly the same. But surprisingly, they weigh in at a little bit more than the Blur Carbon 3, which I'm going to show you guys right now in real time. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.95 ounces, so pretty much right at that 8-ounce mark. By no means is this a heavy weight for a pair of soccer shoes. They're still very, very light and are going to maintain a nice solid feel on feet, but just keep in mind they aren't quite as lightweight as the Blur Carbon 3, and are on the above average end as far as lightweight speed boots go. But again, this is certainly not a shoe that is going to weigh you down. Alright, here's a look at the Blur Carbon 4s on feet, and from right out of the box, these are actually very comfortable. The synthetic upper is soft, flexible, and just moves very nicely with your foot, while that Under Armour Micro G insole does an extremely good job of providing a tremendous amount of underfoot cushioning without adding any actual bulk to the shoe. So if you're looking for something that's going to be light as well as extremely comfortable, not necessarily going to have too low profile of a feel, this is definitely something to consider. In terms of overall width, It's got a shape similar to a Mercurial Vapor 9, but I would say is ever so slightly wider. This is still not a great option for somebody who has excessively wide feet, but for the most part it should fit most foot types. Just keep in mind also that I don't think this synthetic upper is going to stretch very much at all. So again, as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, you shouldn't have any issues fitting into this boot whatsoever. In terms of sizing, they do run about a half size small, just like the Blur Carbon 3 did. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I went up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So again, if you're looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the Under Armour Blur Carbon 4. I think that for the most part this new design is going to appeal to more people, and while the experience I think will still be of a high caliber in terms of overall performance, it definitely will be different from the Blur Carbon 3, which I have yet to determine is a good or bad thing. Let me know if you guys would be interested in down the line seeing a comparison video between the Blur Carbon 3 and the Blur Carbon 4. Something I'm interested in. I don't know if you guys are. Leave a comment down below, let me know. And of course the full review will follow in the next month or so, once I've had an opportunity to actually test these things out and see how they actually do perform. In the meantime though, if you want to check out the review page on my website, linked to down below in the description, you will not only find buy it now links with the best prices online, including exclusive SR4U coupon codes, you'll also find some high quality images of the shoe just to give you a better idea as to how it actually does look in person. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave your comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. And other than that guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.